Today, let's talk about how to use the X-Top and X-Top Pro together. So here, we have prepared 3 X-Tops and 2 X-Top Pros, and we will also be using our Deep Assistant to connect them together. Before we start setting things up, let's first prepare an official matching data cable. Then, make sure that the firmware and voice pack in our Deep Assistant are the latest versions downloaded from the official website. Alright, now let's start the practical demonstration. Let's open the Deep Assistant. Okay, then we connect the adapter using the data cable. Then turn it on. Now let's wait a moment. The status on the Deep Assistant shows that it is not connected. Alright, we can try to flip the data cable and then plug it back into the adapter. Okay, now it shows that it is connected. Good. Now let's select the firmware. Flip it over and then plug it back into the socket. Alright, it now shows connected. Let's select the firmware. Using X-Talk, choose X-Talk Components. For X-Top Pro, select X-Top Pro Firmware. Here, choose X-Top. If mixing X-Talk and X-Top Pro, select a version with low. X 9.0 is also good. Using 5 devices, choose X5 Low version. Alright, let's click to select and open it. Next, choose the voice pack. Choose a low version. When mixing X-Talk and X-Top Pro, use X5 Low for 5 devices. Select and open it. Choose the voice pack. Update firmware by selecting the voice pack. For the first update, long press plus and minus buttons. After beeps, release them in sequence. Okay, let's click on it and select it, then open it. Next, we need to select the voice pack. Alright, it's important to note that every time we update the firmware on each device, we must select the voice pack to ensure proper installation. Now for the first update, we need to add an extra step. Long press the plus and minus buttons. After a couple of beeps, there will be a final beep. And then we can release the plus and minus buttons in sequence. Let's do a practical demonstration. Alright, let's long press the plus and minus buttons. Alright, after 2 beeps, we need to wait for 1 more beep. Alright, release the plus and minus buttons, and then immediately click on install. Alright, at this point, the assistant shows that the firmware is being upgraded. Let's wait a moment. Alright, it shows that the installation was successful. Please restart the headphones. Now we can unplug the cable. Then turn it off and restart. Alright, we have already set up 1 device. Let's turn it off and then set up the second one. The method is the same as the previous device. Let's turn it on. So it shows that it is not connected. We can flip it around. Alright, now it shows that it is connected. We still need to perform the previous operation. Long press the plus and minus buttons. Then the 2 brothers. Alright, release the plus and minus buttons and then immediately click on install. Now let's wait for the upgrade. Alright, the installation was successful. Now let's restart and unplug the cable. Alright, then restart. Alright, let's set up the 3rd device. Assemble device. Alright, the status is connected, just like before. Long press the plus and minus buttons. Alright, 2 beeps. Release the plus button, then release the minus button, and immediately click on install. Alright, let's wait for the upgrade. Alright, the installation is complete. Restart the machine. Alright, so for the crosstalk feature, you only need to long press the plus and minus buttons during the initial setup. If it's the second upgrade, you can skip this step. Alright, we have completed the setup for the charter. Next, let's set up the Fork Pro. First, we'll connect the cable to the Fork Pro and then power it on. Okay, just wait a moment. Alright, after connecting it, since we just upgraded to fork top, the assistant will show that the current firmware cannot be installed. At this point, we need to make a selection. We will very soon upgrade the firmware of Fork Talk to Fork Top Pro. Alright, here we choose Fork Top Pro. Select the 5-person version, the low firmware, and then click to open it. Alright, so here, for the Fork Talk, there's no need to connect it. We don't need to do the connection for Fork Talk. If we long press the plus and minus buttons, we can install it directly. Okay, the installation is complete, let's restart it. By long pressing the plus and minus buttons, we can install it directly. Alright, the installation is complete, let's restart it. Alright, set up the last device by connecting it to the Pro. Alright, just wait a moment for the connection. Alright, it shows that it's connected so we can install it directly. Then wait a moment for the upgrade. Alright, the installation is complete. Let's unplug the cable and restart the machine. Alright, so at this stage we have completed the setup for all 3 Fork Talk devices and the 2 Fork Top Pro devices, and they have all been restarted. Alright, now let's pair them up. Our assistant also has a one-click pairing feature. Let's open the pairing interface. Alright, it will show the number of headphones. Since we are in a stage setting, we just need to select the stage option. And then we can start pairing one by one. Connect the data cable to the machine. Okay, plug the cable in thoroughly and turn on the machine. Waiting for a connection status. Alright, it's connected, so let's just click to start. Alright, it shows that the setup is complete. Please connect the next headset for setup. So here we have the first device set up, and it will pair in the order of a primary host, then secondary network, and so on. Now that we've set up the main device, we can just unplug it, and then plug in the second device. Collect. Wait for a connection. Alright, here we can see that the main device has been set up. Let's just click to start the primary network. A small icon has lit up here, which means that the machine we've set up is now on the primary network and has paired successfully. Alright, let's unplug it. Now let's plug in the third device and power it on. Alright, it's connected, so let's just click to start. The setup is complete. Alright, now plug in the Fork Top Pro and power it on. Wait a moment. Alright, it's connected. So let's just click to start. Alright, the setup is complete. Alright, let's set up the last device. Power on. Alright, it's connected. So let's just click to start. Once we have set up the 5 devices we need to pair, our assistant will prompt us to power them on in the order of primary host, primary network, and secondary network. So let's turn them all off for now. You need to power them on in the order of the primary host, primary network, and secondary network. So the first device we set up, the Fork Top, is the primary host. Let's turn it on first, and then we'll turn on the remaining primary network devices one by one. Alright, at this point their voice display will show that the pairing was successful. So now the Fork Talk and Fork Top Pro have been paired